when Real Madrid finally decided to give me a little bit of a break from the transfer window, here is Barcelona. The deal might be back on. And of course, I have my thoughts on Julian Alvarez. I will be asking questions throughout the video, and we will be talking about why Deco and Laporta did what they did today, what is actually happening, what did they do, why did they do it, how much is Alvarez actually going to cost, how is Barcelona's attack basically going to look like if he actually joins, because I have a lot to talk about. Honestly, this is not a Real Madrid video at all. But of course, Real Madrid fans, stick in here, and please, if you have anything to cook on Alvarez, if you want to cook the Barcelona fans, I'm pretty sure you can do that with this Alvarez deal, because isn't this a little bit just, aren't you over it, guys? Aren't you Barcelona fans over it? Didn't you also think that this was a, basically a done case? Maybe we should be looking, elsewhere. Some other positions or another striker, because let's be honest, guys, Barcelona do need a number 9, especially when Robert Lewandowski has left the club and Ferran Torres is basically begging to be loved by Barcelona fans when he's the most mediocre striker, a bench player talking like a starter. If you know, you know. And he's basically gonna go to PSG or somewhere else. So they do need a striker. But how much is Julian Alvarez actually going to be? We're going to get into that a little bit later, but what is actually happening? Why am I even making this video? Because, if this was some small news, I wouldn't be here, honestly, guys. Barcelona sporting director Deco has traveled to Madrid in a final attempt to sign Julian Alvarez, and it is confirmed. The videos are out. We can look at it a little bit later. They are in Madrid, and they are ready to not give up. Of course, is this the right decision? I don't know. But a meeting between Alvarez's agent and Deco will take place in the coming hours, reports by Gerard Romero. Now, this, of course, doesn't solve the problem with Atletico Madrid's representatives, which are not Alvarez's agents or what, Deco will be meeting with today. That's still, to be, the debate is still yet to be had in the coming of hours, next, days, weeks, maybe even, because this deal will definitely not be easy, guys. Head of scouting Joe Amaral has also traveled to Madrid and will join the second meeting. It's Barcelona's final attempt to complete this difficult transfers. You have heard this correctly, chat. Or Barca fans, Madrid fans, whoever is watching this. This is the last chance Barcelona have of signing Julian Alvarez. And I'm just going to be completely honest. If I was Barcelona and I had to pay this kind of money for Julian Alvarez, I am not paying this money, and I know some of you will agree with me. On the other hand, is this an exciting transfer? Are you stealing from an Atletico? Are you finally buying a striker? Are you finally buying a bigger name? Yes. So I get both sides of the story, and I do get that, yes, he's a great lineup player. Yes, he, drops in. Yes, he scores. Basically, only bangers, which Barcelona, let's be honest, guys, they do not need a striker with 50 goals. They need someone who's going to help them in the bigger games. Maybe someone that's going to make Lamine Yamal even better. But you have to ask yourself, is he really that guy that will make Lamine Yamal better? Or would it be a proper number 9? We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Now, I just want to show you the video. That Deco and Joao Amaral are in Madrid for one final attempt to sign Julian Alvarez. As we have said before, the agent is there as well. It's scheduled to take place in the coming hours. I think it's, taking place currently because this was at 5:12, the Spanish time in Barcelona. And yes, as we can see on the video, they are actually there. So this is 100% confirmed. Rashad Rahman has confirmed this once again. And Deco and Laporta don't want to give up on Julian Alvarez. So this is a question for you guys as well, Barcelona fans. If it was up to you, if you were Deco, if you were Laporta, whatever you want to do, I sure don't want to be fucking Deco and Laporta. Let me tell you that much. Those cookie eaters. But would you sign Julian Alvarez? If you had the chance to give up now or go all in, would you do it? Would you give up on Julian Alvarez? That's what I'm completely interested in. Now let's look at the lineup. This is what I'm talking about. What is the lineup going to look like with Julian Alvarez? And how is it going to work? Because you have Rafinha, of course, probably starting, probably Olmo, maybe Fermin Lopez. We can talk about it. I don't really care about the 10 position now. Lamine Yamal, of course, is going to start. And then Julian Alvarez, if he joins, he is 100% going to be the starting striker. Then you get into the discussion of okay, maybe we can change up, Olmo and Fermin Lopez. I don't really care, guys. Like I think where is Fermin? Fermin Lopez. I think Barcelona, fans are really split on this. I think some of them love Olmo, but once again, you have to talk about almost inconsistencies for Barcelona. If we're being completely honest, Fermin definitely had the better season last season, but in big games and in the World Cup, which unfortunately for him, Fermin got injured, of course, but Dani Olmo did much better. If I'm going to be completely unbiased, Dani Olmo, first touch, the passes between the lines, he was sensational in the final third for Spain in the World Cup. If I'm gonna be completely honest, but in the La Liga last season, for me, he was mediocre, and that's me saying it as a Madrid fan. I'm trying to be completely unbiased. From what I have seen last season, I thought Fermin had a better overall season, and I think he's more dangerous, and he is a more, the type of player that Hansi Flick wants. He's more direct, he is a little bit more aggressive, he is a little bit more, just final third, get me in there, get me those goals. And Olmo is a little bit, more cute. He's a little bit, on the ball. Give me those touches. Let me do a little bit back heel here and there. And, he can pop up with a goal, definitely. But who's going to give you more GA? Who's going to be more aggressive? Who's going to fit the system more? Who's going to be the pressing one? It's going to be Fermin Lopez. Now, Lamine Yamal, we don't even have to talk about it. He's 1,000,000% starting. You have the question of Rafinha and, of course, Anthony Gordon. I still don't get this transfer, honestly, guys. I know people will say to me, yeah, but he will probably perform under Hansi Flick. Sure, it's just my opinion. I don't know why you would spend 80 million on Gordon when, you probably could have gotten him for a lot less. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe they just jumped the gun. Maybe Gordon is gonna work out way better than I expect. But my question is just, where is he playing? Is he playing over Rafinha? Is this the starting lineup? Because let's be honest, guys, some people were saying if Julian Alvarez doesn't sign, if Barcelona doesn't get a striker, they will basically be playing, maybe Rafinha, some game striker, but it would be probably like a Gordon switch up with Adeyemi, and Ferran Torres would probably stay. They would have to, make him stay. But if Julian Alvarez actually joins Barca, where does Rafinha play? Where does Adeyemi play? Adeyemi is not that, big of a deal for Barcelona, at least I think, because he was like 22 million. He shouldn't be piping up. But you have players like Ferran Torres saying, yeah, but Barcelona, needs to give me more love. So I don't know what's going on over there with that situation. Honestly, guys, you can let me know down below with the Ferran Torres situation, because that's just absolutely crazy. He's speaking like he's Lamine Yamal. That World Cup goal in the final might be the worst thing that's happened for the whole Barcelona fan base in terms of this striker situation. Because once again, Atletico have even more leeway because they know they literally need Julian Alvarez. And of course, it has not been confirmed that Ferran Torres will leave. But if he does leave and they sign Julian Alvarez, they will probably keep Hamza Abdelkarim, which is a talented striker. I think he's been in La Masia the last season. He has had an okay preseason. I think he has even scored a goal against Birmingham from a penalty. And that would be the striker force. But who's playing on the left then? I don't get it. That's just my question. Who's playing on the left? And you have the question of, once again, does Lamine Yamal actually need Julian Alvarez, or does he need a proper number 9? If this is Gordon or this is Rafinha, that's another discussion. But my opinion is that Rafinha should still be starting if he's fit for Barcelona, because he's just a much better player than Gordon and Adeyemi, of course. If he turns up, he can give you more than both of them. And I think Gordon, if he is starting some games and, is on the bench some games, it's not that big of a deal, because let's be honest, guys, Anthony Gordon, I don't think there's that much hype on Anthony Gordon being the number one star of Barcelona, even though he cost 80 million. It's just, the market is like that, honestly, guys. With Julian Alvarez, though, if he's gonna go to Barcelona for 130, 150 million, is he actually gonna be that guy? I keep asking myself this question, because when Real Madrid we offered Atletico 150 million, I wanted to cry. Yeah, they rejected immediately and said, you want to pay 500 million. And I was like, I was hyped that we basically bid for him, because we, made the deal more impossible for Barcelona. But then I was like, Julian Alvarez is worth 150 million, and maybe in this market, once again, I'm getting back to it. Let's just leave the finances and fucking Elliot Andersons and Morgan Rogerses out the window, yeah? Barcelona fans, even Real Madrid fans, do you think Julian Alvarez, which, by the way, he stays in the box less than Kylian Mbappe, he has less goals than Carlos Espi at Levante last season. Is he a better player? Sure. But you know, there's still a lot of question marks about Julian Alvarez. Let's not be, you know, that he's the most proven player of all time, especially for the money that they are asking for him. And the wages will be astronomical, I'm telling you. But is it going to be a problem where Fermin Lopez and, you know, Julian Alvarez like to occupy the same spaces? When Lamine Yamal had probably, you know, Lewandowski or even Ferran Torres, which Ferran Torres is not the typical number 9, but he stays in the box a lot more than Julian Alvarez. Is he going to have the crosses? Is he just going to be cutting in? Are they going to play like a false 9 situation? Or maybe where Fermin will basically, you know, be like switching with Julian Alvarez? Which I think this could work well, but is Fermin that type of guy to be basically playing like a switch up with Julian Alvarez between the 10 and the 9? I don't know, maybe even off the left, Rafinha goes into the middle. They could be like doing like a PSG situation. But in my eyes, this deal is not the best deal that Barcelona could be doing, especially for the all-around of the team. But Hansi Flick thinks he needs the, like a false 9, technical striker type of guy in Julian Alvarez. And, you know, fair enough, if they sign him, it's a great, great transfer on paper, because it's Julian Alvarez from Atletico Madrid. But will it actually work out? Will it benefit Lamine Yamal? Will it benefit Gordon? Will it benefit the number 10s? Dani Olmo, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha? I don't know. Maybe I'm you know, once again being a little bit too critical, because if we're being completely honest, guys, Julian Alvarez will have to do much less than he had to do at Atletico to actually be great. You know, to actually score goals, to actually assist. Because Lamine Yamal is giving you passes like you've never seen before. You have pressing, much more organized. You have a much more organized team as well, because Hansi Flick right now is a much better manager than Diego Simeone. And if we're being honest, he plays much over a... Like, if you had to pick 2 different styles of football, Hansi Flick, high line here, and playing pressing forwards and pressing everything. Then you have a low block in Simeone, and 2 players are pressing, which is basically Griezmann on one leg, and then Julian Alvarez just running around the fullbacks and, you know, the midfielders. That's why he's also so deep, because people need to understand that Atletico is just so, you know, in a low block, and they play harambol. We all know this. But is he going to transfer well to Barcelona? I honestly don't know. I think this transfer is a little bit weird in my opinion. I think they could have gone for like an Osimhen or a number, or like a typical number 9. But it could honestly work out, and if they get him, it's a great transfer. Let me know down below what you think. I have asked many questions. I know this was like a different kind of video, way different than, you know, talking about Diomande, Rodri. But I don't really care about the transfer, the negotiations, because I don't care about the transfer, honestly. I just, you know, care about what the Barcelona fans think and the Madrid fans think about this transfer and what it could mean for the foreseeable future and the next season. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Maybe, you know, more Real Madrid oriented next day, because we will be getting more news about Vinicius and probably Rodri and Yan Diomande in the next week. Thank you so much for watching once again, and like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Peace out.